and justice for all.
Okay. Will somebody make a motion to open the meeting to the public for agenda items only, please?
I have to roll call.
Oh, did we miss that? Yeah, roll call. I'm sorry.
No problem. Paul Carney,
Present.
Andrew Pitsker,
Present.
Dave McDermott,
Present.
Kristen Wheaton,
Present.
Mark Bauer.
Present.
Absent right now, we have Ed Snook and Ed DeYoung. For professionals, we have Don Albright, Administrator, CFO, Rich Leonard, the Attorney, Rob McNinch, the Auditor, and myself, Jacqueline McCabe, the Recording Secretary.
Thank you. Now, can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public for agenda items only?
So moved.
Second.
Second?
I'm sorry, who was second?
Dave.
I seconded.
Dave McDermott.
Right now, I don't have anybody in attendance wishing to speak.
Okay, since seeing nobody from the public raising their hand to speak, couldn't someone make a motion to close the meeting to the public for agenda items only?
Motion to close it to public for public, yeah. Motion to close to members of the, to the public for open meeting items.
Motion made by Andrew, can we get a second?
Too much coffee.
Second it.
Seconded by Dave. Okay, approval of the bills. Motion to approve resolution 2243, approval of the bills. Somebody make a did everybody get a chance to look at the bills?
I did. I have a question on bills.
There you go.
There you go. Let's see, Danelle. Under Dewberry 22-00100, and I apologize for not getting back to you on this beforehand. We've got $3,700 for work performed.
Yes.
Is that on pump station 2, a conglomerate of things? What is the breakdown of that?
Well, there's different ones, so I would need to pull each one of these to determine, because I think there's 6 or 7 Dewberry purchase orders on this one.
Okay.
Sorry.
I want
That's
to
right.
general.
And the reason
I
for
don't
asking
have-
that, yeah, the reason I asked that question is when it comes to like pump station 2, should those costs be associated and put towards the project so that we can?
So, okay, so pump station 2's, the bond ordinance was not passed by the township until earlier this year. So anything prior to this year would have been charged, or I should say anything prior to March of this year would have been charged to the MUA. Anything after March, I've charged to the township.
Okay, so it gets charged to the township.
Correct, right.
Okay, all right, very good. That answers my question. If you could just send me the details on that, but it looks
Yeah, for
good
each one of
otherwise.
those, it's not a problem. Yep.
Please, more out of curiosity.
Mhm.
And I think on the other one, was the roofing materials, is that for pump station 2? Or
I'm
for,
sorry, the what?
Pump, it's called line number 22-00107. It's roofing materials.
Pump station 3.
That's pump station 3. All right, very good. I know you'll update us on that when we get there. Thank you.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, that's all I have on the bills list.
Anybody else have questions? If not, someone make a motion to approve the bills.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
A
I'll
second?
second the motion.
Okay, Paul Carney,
Yes.
Andrew Pitsker,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes.
and Mark Bauer.
Abstain.
Okay, let's go on to approval of the minutes. A motion to approve the minutes from 9/15/22.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Paul Carney,
Yes.
Andrew Pittsger,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
yes,
and Wheaton,
yes,
and Mark Bauer.
Yes.
We have a motion to approve the minutes from 10/20/22.
Chairman, we've actually had a request to just table those until the next meeting.
Okay, very good. The special meeting as well?
No, the 11/14, that one you can go ahead and ask for a vote.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes from the special meeting of 11/14/22.
So
Motion
moved.
to second that.
Sorry, I didn't hear who was first.
Mark was
Dave was
first.
first. Oh, Mark, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yes.
great, thank you. So, Paul Carney, Kristen
I have-
Wheaton, we're not at this meeting, so,
Correct.
so Paul Carney,
I was not at the meeting.
right, do you have to abstain?
Abstain.
Okay. Andrew Pittsger,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
yes,
Kristen Wheaton,
abstain,
thank you, and Mark Bauer,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, on to resolution 2244, resolution for appointing RMC and RMC agreement.
I can briefly talk about this in case anyone
Please.
might not understand this. So annually, we need to appoint a risk management consultant. The past year or two, we've used PIA for our risk management consultant. It's the same risk management consultant that the township uses. The principal there is Frank Cavelli. He does a fantastic job for us. And I know that working with him and Statewide, which is our insurance carrier, they come out, they do quarterly meetings for us. So I think they're doing, a good job, making sure that everything is up to date. And, we've sent training to our employees through them. So they've been really helpful. So that's who we have here for the resolution to appoint the risk management consultant as well as the agreement.
I'll make a
so-
motion to approve resolution 22-44, appointing risk management consultant.
Can we get
Second.
a
I will.
second?
Is that Mark Bauer?
Yes, I second.
Okay, great. So then we have Paul Carney,
Yes.
Andrew Pittsger,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
yes,
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes,
and Mark Bauer.
Yes.
Resolution 2245, resolution to appoint a fund commissioner. Donnell?
Yep. So this has to do with statewide insurance. We're required to have a fund commissioner and a fund commissioner and a fund alternate commissioner. So this is, again, just one of our annual appointments that they just done in, before the start of the year.
What does a funds commissioner do?
It's essentially,
So-
go ahead, Danelle.
No, go ahead, Rich.
It's essentially a liaison. So this, statewide, as I'm sure everyone knows, is the JIF is a joint insurance fund. So they have an executive board and a body. The fund commissioner is is basically the liaison that's being appointed by the township, or in this case, the MUA, to be the point of contact between the JIF, the joint insurance fund, and the MUA, along with an alternate in the event the commissioner itself can perform that duty. It's basically a procedural requirement on the part of statewide as it relates to ensuring and underwriting their insurance with the MUA.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 22-45, appointing fund commissioners.
Second that.
Sorry. Paul Carney,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes,
Dave McDermott,
yes,
Kristen Wheaton,
yes,
and Mark Bauer.
Abstain.
Resolution 2246, resolution budget transfer. Motion to approve 2246 resolution budget transfer.
May I have an explanation of the transfers, please?
Sure. So we have a transfer into postage and printing. So because of all the additional mailings that we had to do this year, due to the state requirements, as well as the change in EDUs at the condos, we needed to put some more into postage because we weren't anticipating those things at the end of last year when we introduced the budget. And as far as professional services for the DPW, we had an employee that was out for workers' comp. So we needed additional funds to cover them during that time.
Is any of that covered under insurance later on or not?
For workers' comp?
Yeah,
Yeah, when someone's under workers' comp, we're reimbursed for what we pay them.
okay. So that will come from someplace else, but this cost of providing services and salaries, does that impact us anyway as far as our budget today?
No.
Okay, all right, very good. A motion to approve resolution 22-46.
I'll second that.
You? Okay, Paul Kearney,
Yes.
Andrew Pitzer,
Yes,
Dave McDermott,
yes,
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes,
and Mark Bauer.
Yes.
Okay, on to resolution 2247. Motion to approve resolution 2247, refund for overpayment.
And just to let everybody know, this is the same situation what happened the last meeting. So the last meeting, we had someone where they never had their auto pay turned off after they sold the unit. So we're just refunding the individual who paid.
by the way, thank you for the backup documentation to this. That was really good.
Yeah, can I ask a question about that? Why do we need a resolution of the MUA to do a refund, which I would think is an automatic or semi-automatic bookkeeping function? We don't need a resolution to collect a bill. Why do we need a resolution to refund an overpayment on a bill?
So it's handled the same way as a township handles taxes. We can't just refund taxes without having approval. So what could happen is that you could have an individual that, because essentially what happens here is there's like an overpayment, right? So what happens here is there's an overpayment, and that property would have the ability to apply to additional years or additional quarters in this case, right? This is not the case. You can't apply this to different quarters because it's not the current property owners, and like they're not entitled to have that. So in order for anything to be refunded back to this individual, it has to be approved by the board.
Is that an
I can't just
MUA rule, a
cut.
town rule, just a custom, a policy? It strikes me as a bit cumbersome for the administrative body to have to deal with this kind of a petty, what strikes me as a petty issue.
Right. So Mark, it's at its essence, it's authorizing payment. Right. So it's an
Right.
approval. It's an approval of the expenditure of municipal monies. So that's why it needs the governing bodies or the commissioner's approval as a body to do.
I understand. Is there some minimum number that can be paid without requiring a full-blown administrative vote? If you have to write out a check for 25 cents, do you need to
No.
have an administrative body organized public
Yeah,
meeting to vote that?
And that's something that the commissioners you guys as a body might want to discuss. We do want to make sure it doesn't, and get Rob's blessing on that it wouldn't jam us up on from an auditing standpoint to have adopted a policy to that effect. But certainly you can authorize minute bills exceeding X number of dollars, right? Not exceeding $500 or something that's relatively de minimis.
Yeah.
In the public trust by not giving blanket authority for payment of bills, but at the same time, you're recognizing the need for efficiency, and some things are, not necessary to overburden. So, in your example, certainly the board, you could consider authorizing the automatic refund of overpayments in an amount not exceeding whatever it might be. Again, deferring to Rob from his standpoint as an auditor, whether that would, make us look bad.
From my experience, that's common enough with municipal utility authorities where they might adopt a policy or have policy where they'll set that minimum threshold. And then at that point, it's just an administrative function. But the important thing initially is having the board's blessing on this. From our end, that's our focus.
So I think the answer to your question, Mark, is yes.
Okay,
I'd like to recognize Ed DeYoung as joined us.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. Last minute computer problems resolved.
Right. So I guess we're back to, does someone want to approve the resolution 2247 for refund of overpayment?
Motion to approve resolution 2247 refund for overpayment.
I'll second a motion.
I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I'm calling the right people to vote now that Ed DeYoung is here.
That is the regular
Right.
member.
Okay, great. All right, Paul Carney,
Yes.
Andrew Fisker,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes.
and Ed DeYoung.
Yes,
Thank you.
On to 2248. Motion to approve resolution 2248 approving EDU calculations for 14 Church Street. Danielle, could you give an explanation on this, please?
Sure. So 14 Church Street is the building that's across the street. It has some office space on the lower level. It's the white building that has the 3 apartments that are on top. They're moving this to be 5 apartments now. So they came in, made the application, obviously, Steve reviewed it, and he increased the EDUs accordingly.
Okay, thank you. Anyone like to make a motion to approve?
so moved.
Get
I'll
second?
second that.
Seconded by Kristen.
Paul Carney,
Yes.
Andrew Fisker,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Your mic's starting to cut out.
fine. Ed DeYoung,
Yes,
thank you.
On to 2249, motion to approve resolution 2249 designating meeting dates for 2023.
Motion to approve resolution 22-49.
I'll second that motion.
Paul Carney,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Andrew Fisker,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes.
and Ed DeYoung.
yes,
Thank you.
On to 2250, resolution 2250, authorizing the Vernon Township Municipal Utilities Authority to execute a shared service agreement between the Township of Vernon and the Vernon Township Municipal Utilities Authority for the provision of financial administrative support services.
You want me to give an explanation?
Yeah, please. There's especially for
Sure.
the new.
Right, so the township and the MUA have had a longstanding shared service for chief financial officer services, but it's not just the services of the CFO, which requires a certification from the state of New Jersey. It's also for collections, right? So collections of funds for billing. We also started in 2021 an administrative portion of that. So Jacqueline, who's on tonight, she works full-time for the township, but the MUA splits that time with her, right? So rather than the township spending more money to have a part-time person and the MUA spending more money to have a part-time person, combining the two saves both entities funding, and then also all the work is getting done. So again, it's not just the CFO services, it's also, and obviously the financial reports and stuff, but also is processing payments, it's taking deposits. It handles all of our tax sale from the tax department. As far as administrative goes, it handles everything administrative that our administrative assistant handles, which is minutes, agendas. She makes all our orders, all the office supplies, handles all the applications, etc. So that would be for that. And these numbers are updated. So we just finished our 3-year agreement with the township. So this is just renewing it. And all of these numbers are based on estimated time that's being used, just from my experience seeing in the past 4 years how the time is allotted. That's how I came to these numbers.
Anybody have any questions on that one? Or somebody want to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
We get a second?
Maybe my mic cut out. Motion of resolution 22-50 to approve.
Motion
I'll
made
second
by
that.
Woody.
Okay, Paul Carney,
Yes.
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes.
and Ed DeYoung.
Yes.
$22.52, introduction of the 2023 VTMUA.
You missed
Budget.
2251 for the DPW shared service.
Oh, did I? Oh, I'm sorry. 2251. Resolution authorizing the Vernon Township Municipal Utilities Authority to execute a shared service agreement between the Township of Vernon and the Vernon Township Municipal Utilities Authority for the provision of DPW shared services.
So this is different than what we had a couple of years ago, but it's in line with what we currently have with the township for DPW. They cover our sewer repairers if they're out sick, if they have scheduled vacation, if there's a large job or like a large incident that we might need additional help on, they'll come out and cover us. So that's what we have this for. It's a straight hour for hour reimbursement to the township.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 22-51.
I will second that motion.
Okay, Paul Carney,
Yes.
Andrew Pitsker,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes.
and Ed DeYoung.
Yes.
Okay. Now 2252, introduction of the 2023 VTMUA budget. Donnell.
I can take over this one. So tonight we're introducing the budget for the MUA. The total expenditures and revenues this year are $3,405,677. I don't usually like to talk percentage increases, but I'm going to this time. So we're looking at an 18.5% increase, and that is because SCUMA increased their bill by $632,000. So we were anticipating a $525,000 increase from their debt service, but they increased additional amounts in their operations and capital expenses that they charged to Vernon. I have not gotten the year-end numbers for the other townships. When I do, I'll notify the board and I'll give them updated spreadsheets on our actual amounts that we send down to SCUMA and what that would cost versus what we're being charged. So, but I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention. As a result, because of that large increase, we're seeing large increases in contributions from Mountain Creek that we have, that's under contributions from developer in the revenue section of the budget. So that contribution went from about $390,000 to almost $660,000. We did bring in additional interest income this year, so I included some of that just to help, keep rates as they are. This budget does not increase rates for next year. It does use almost $190,000 in our net position. So the board has done really well financially, being conservative and making sure that, every dollar we spend out of our budget is a smart dollar. And as a result, we've been able to increase our net position, knowing that this 2023 would come hard at us. So I felt like we were in a good spot to use about $190,000 from there. We're using $50,000 from SCUMA's rate stabilization and using both of those to kind of stabilize our rates so that we don't have to increase on our users. I don't know if anyone has specific questions about our budget. One thing that we did do this year that we did increase, we increased the maintenance of our pumping system by about $15,000. And I decided after conversations with Howie and our sewer repairers that we would pump out the pump stations more frequently. We were doing it annually, and we just think that it's better for the system to do it quarterly. So that's why we put additional funds in to cover those amounts.
That amount is about 15.7, correct?
I'm sorry?
That amount was what, like 15.7?
Yeah, we increased, yes.
Okay. And that leaves us with a fund balance for next year right now about 600,000.
Currently, yes. But at the end of this year, once we close our books and stuff, there will be more going into our net position.
That's good.
I'm sorry. I think Andy just asked that question, but my computer froze for a second. What's the amount of unrestricted net position that we have?
That we will have. So after we take this amount out,
What is the amount that we're taking out?
we're taking out $188,994.
And what is the total?
So we haven't closed our year end. So I'm estimating that I don't like doing this. Rob's gonna yell at me for doing this, but I'm estimating we'll at least be where we started with our net position this year, which is about $165,000. So if we use 188, we'll have less than that.
Okay. Thank you.
And Rob is on too, if anyone has any questions, financially for our auditor, who was kind enough to go through all of my budget. The state changed all the budget format this year, so that was fun. It was like a 65-page Excel workbook, which is not what we usually do.
Oof.
Ironically, this is a shift to a system that they're calling the FAST system.
The opposite of fast.
That's been the feedback of everyone.
I mean, based on past history, Rob and Danelle, I mean, our budgeting process seems to be a little bit more streamlined, but also we've done a very good job of controlling our cost and staying on top of preventive maintenance. That's why we're at this level now, even with the big hit from SCUMA. Is that a good summary?
Yes.
Agreed.
Wish we had a crystal ball, see where we're going to be next year.
Right.
But this is something also we've had in mind for years. With 2023, what's going to be a big increase, and I think to Andrew, to your point, this is through good budgeting over the years, we've put ourselves into this position now where you don't have, it's not all on the backs of the ratepayers, or it's not a sudden increase to the ratepayers. We're able to stabilize rates a bit. So.
Okay.
Just one minor thing I just need to note to the board. So in that spreadsheet, it did not pull to the resolution correctly. So if you look at the resolution under the second whereas, it says including any accumulated deficit, if any, total appropriations of, and then it says 3 million it says less than what it should. It says the exact same thing as revenue. It says 3,216,000. It should be $3,405,677, which is the amount that's reflected in the actual budget document.
Right, so that'll be adjusted for, so
Correct.
when we, okay,
So when we make the motion, if we could just make the motion with the corrected appropriations adjustment, and I will do that.
all right, this is to introduce the budget, not to approve it as of yet, correct?
Correct, right. So we'll have the meeting for the approval at the meeting in January.
Mhm.
And Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, but we do not need to have a rate hearing because we're not changing the rates.
Correct. From this point, the next step is, after approved, we'll submit it to the DCA through this fast system. Once we get local government services blessing on this, then we can go ahead and adopt. And they've been fairly quick with this process.
Correct.
Any other questions? So can someone make a motion to approve resolution 2252 with the corrected figures, introduction of the 2023 VTMUA budget?
A motion to approve resolution 22-52 for the introduction of the budget for 2023, as so noted with its corrections.
Second motion.
Paul Carney,
Yes.
Andrew Pittsger,
Yes,
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes,
Ed, DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great. Now, on to the administrator report.
Okay, so pump station 2, that bid was awarded at the last council meeting in November. So the winning bid was just under 1.6 million, which is fantastic. We had a great turnout, which obviously helped with some competition, so that's good. We are finalizing that with iBank. We had a little hiccup because we cannot find anything on the township side that shows us the easement for Mountain Creek. So I have a meeting with Mountain Creek with Scott and Joe to get that easement in place, and then everything should be moving forward smoothly with iBank, so we'll get approval for that. And that should be done in January. The sewer service area mapping, so myself, the mayor, and the council president, as well as one of the council members, met with the DEP. They have a department for municipal relations, which is I had never even heard of. But they had reached out to all of the municipalities to find out if we wanted a meeting with them during the League of Municipalities. They weren't able to accommodate us for the time we wanted, so they decided to set up a Zoom meeting. So they had the WQMP department on, the municipal relations department on. We discussed, I was basically blunt and honest with them, and we discussed the issues that we've had with them in the past. We did request to have meetings more frequently moving forward. So we were granted that, but they're not available until like the middle end of January. So we'll see how that goes. I've reached out to Legends about, or I should say the prospective developers of Legends regarding the hotel property. I have not heard back from them. I reached out to them twice. That Legends is really the final piece to the sewer service area. We have already requested and gotten, kind of pre-approval, obviously, from DEP for the golf course area that's on 94. There's a residential development that's proposed there, so that they've already said could be included in our sewer service area. But the question is whether or not, the MUA as a board would want to include the Legends portion of the hotel and the rest of the golf course in that whole area in the sewer service area. So that's really up to this board if that's what they would like to do. Again, I haven't heard back from the developer. So it's a little frustrating. I haven't heard back from them because we need to make a decision. It's really what's holding us up. So the transfer station, I just heard back from SCUMA. We've been going back and forth about setting up a meeting with them regarding the transfer station. So they said that we could meet in the first quarter of 2023. So I'm trying to get them to meet in the first month of 2023. So we'll see how that goes. Updates on the capital items, the generators, we've installed everything, but the gas has not been hooked up. They can't come until the 27th. So once Elizabethtown gas comes out, we should be pretty much good to go. We also ordered the material to cover the pipe exposure that's on the force main at the railroad track. So that should hopefully be coming in soon. There's nothing new on the developments that we have, being proposed in town center. I did touch base with the developer who's handling the senior living one that's supposed to be on Omega Theta. And they're still moving forward. They're just getting third-party approvals right now at the state level. For finance, we held our tax sale in November. So there were a good number of the MUA properties that did sell their liens at tax sale. So that's good. We got the cash for that. So that's a positive. And we're also the LEWAP program. So that's for our customers, for utility customers effective this year, at the start of this year. They were allowed to apply for this program if they were in arrears with their utilities. And then the state would approve them through this LEWAP program. And then the authority would receive money directly from the state to cover their fees. So we didn't have anybody apply for anything like that. No one reached out to us when we sent mailers back in February or March of this year. But we did have somebody or a couple people apply, I think 3 or 4 applied. So LEWAP reached out to us so that we could move forward on that. There is an agreement that we're supposed to sign, but they haven't gotten back to me on that. So I'll update everybody when that comes through. And I don't have anything else other than thank you for introducing the budget. That's all I got.
I have a question about the Legends property. If that was to get redeveloped, for lack of a better term, and it's back in service and it's a full-fledged hotel with the amount of rooms that are in it now, do we know what the EDU count for that would be? Or to some rough idea?
We had spoke that I don't know, but we spoke to the developer about what their proposal was for that property. I think like last year, maybe a year and a half ago. And our engineer had calculated about 600 EDUs.
Okay, so 600 EDUs, and if the option was the developers, let's say to either A, connect to us, or B, to revamp their, or probably have to rebuild basically from scratch because it's been idle for so long, their packaged sewer plant. Do we really, because I mean, we're going to have to make a decision if we want to include it in the service area. So the thought is, do you think a developer would, or the owner of that would want to pay to rebuild a plant and then have to maintain it and run it and have to keep up with all the discharge permits and all the other DEP related things that go along with it? Or would they like to just hook up and get a bill every month? Obviously, we don't know what their answer is because they're not returning calls, or you can't get in touch with them. But from my point, I think that if I was them, I wouldn't want to have to go through all that. And if they decided to do that, what are the chances that DEP would let them do that as opposed to hooking up? Because with discharges and everything that goes with it from a package plant, they may not grant them that anymore if the ability to hook up to us exists, right?
So I've had like so many meetings with the DEP. So regarding the last thing you just said about the DEP basically considering that there's a force main right outside, of that property, the DEP cannot look at a force main being in the area for another sewer service area as being like part of the equation, right? Like they take that out of the equation. It actually doesn't matter to them, which I don't understand or agree with, but that's the fact of the matter. Now, on the other things you said, our conversations with the DEP, as Legends currently stands, they have a discharge to surface water and a discharge to groundwater based on the golf course. They're allowed to use the discharge to surface water for irrigation for the golf course. In conversations with them, we had talked about what some of the proposed development would be based on our prior conversations with the prospective developer. And the DEP was actually, they were kind of surprised. I guess no one's reached out to them, but they were kind of surprised because they pretty much said, well, what's currently there, it would have to be different than what would have to be there as a treatment facility if, if it's a hotel, if it's a, an event space, if it's residential, right? Like it can't just be the existing one as it currently stands. So I think that it's not going to be like an easy application. The DEP likes to say, well, as long as the application is complete, we have a requirement of 6 months, but they're the ones who deem an application complete. So, that I would think, just in our experience with Pump Station 2, I don't think it's going to be easy. I'm not the DEP, nor am I the developer, but I don't see how it could go through easily. The alternative, though, is if we include them in the sewer service area, they no longer have the Legend sewer service area. So their property, the development of the property would be slightly shrunken in to account for the environmentally sensitive areas of 25 acres or more, which I think they would have restrictions on anyway due to wetlands and other probably issues to develop that property. So, there's positives, like you had explained, Paul, about connecting to our system and not having to worry about upkeep with permitting with the DEP. And, like this then, right? Like we're the ones maintaining it. They're just paying, for the sewer. But there's also the other side of it where they might lose some developable area. It doesn't mean that it would be permanent. They just have to go and ask for environmental assessments to those areas.
Hey, Paul, if I could jump in here.
Sure.
I kind of agree with just about everything I've heard here, but my impression of what's going on here is we're kicking a can down the road here an awful lot. And I think everybody, well, I can't speak for everybody, but I would think our board would be more inclined to include Legends in our sewer service area. And that way they can hook up into our system. And on the downside of that is, well, maybe it's going to impact their development, but you know what? If they're going to have to redo their own treatment plant and have a whole bunch of other issues, that may impact them even worse. So quite frankly, in my opinion, we ought to just move forward, include them in the sewer service area and see who blinks. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that tax. I'm just trying to weigh and get all the information and weigh it all out so that when we make a decision, we make, the best one. And because, initially something you think is the best idea, maybe it may not be. Although at this point in time, I tend to agree with your take on it.
Yeah, I think, we've been talking about trying to get this plan approved for a long time. And I think as long as this issue remains on the table, and quite frankly, they're not even returning phone calls to us, let's make a decision, tell the DEP we want to include it in, and let's get our plan approved.
And just to let you know too, I should have mentioned it before. So the process goes, we ask DEP to include it, they approve that. It then has to go to the county for approval. Once that gets approved, it goes back to the DEP. The DEP has to publish it, and then they have a 30-day period where they can accept, anyone that comes in that objects to any additions or deletions or whatever for the sewer service area. So that would be an opportunity that would be an opportunity for the owners and the prospective developers to make their case to the DEP, and the DEP is required by law to answer each one of their concerns.
Yeah, it goes to public comment, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm of the same opinion as you, Ed, is that maybe from a different tact, is that environmentally, if we are managing the system and the flow through there, we protect the Vernon environment much more effectively than trying to have them have a new system separated, them maintaining it, when we already have all the training and the abilities here. And actually, from a capital standpoint, it's a benefit to them that, the town is managing it, or I should say the commission here, VTMUA, is managing it instead of them. So I can't see why they would object to it from that cost standpoint. I know the connection fees and flow fees will be high, but their investment to maintain it over the years could be different. I'm the same as you, is include them in the area and let them contest it in a public comments.
Well, they may not want to contest it. I mean,
They may not.
you know, the likelihood of them refurbishing or trying to get that old plant back online is pretty much near zero. So that's not going to happen. And
Yeah,
No,
for
no,
them,
and if you,
yeah,
go
for
ahead.
them to put up a new plant and then go through this whole process with the DEP to get a new plant approved, I mean, it's going to take them years.
It's a 5 to 10 year process.
Yeah.
And if you,
But
if you walk,
their development will be put on the shelf for 5 to 10 years. And that's not
Right.
something we want to have happen either.
no, it's not.
and if you walked up to where the old process system is, it is defunct because,
I've seen it.
yeah, it's not good.
Well, it's not only has it been sitting idle and no good, I mean, the technology's changed. The discharge regulations from when that was last operated probably changed immensely, and it might, even if they rebuilt what it was, it probably can't keep up with the new regulations, which means they're gonna have to go in with a whole new technology and you know, it's gonna be very expensive. It's gonna be extremely expensive to rebuild a package plant like that.
The engineering costs alone are going to drive them crazy.
So would it be the recommendation of this commission to recommend putting the Legends property into the sewer service area and let Danell move forward with that?
Well, would we have to make a resolution and have it at the next meeting, or is that something that we could do now?
I don't know if you even need a resolution to do that, because I would just notify our engineers that's what we want to do, and then we include it in the, we discuss it with the DEP, it's added to their maps.
Right, and then we'd have a resolution to approve the sewer service area, right?
You know what? I actually do not know that, and I will find out the answer for you.
Okay.
I think
I don't,
yeah, I feel like the board would have voted on that in the past, the map that we submitted to DEP, right?
well, I
We
mean,
all-
we've submitted like a bunch of maps to them. Like we've gone back, it's like a work in progress, but I think, to
True.
your point, I think it's a good idea, maybe when we get a final map, to just have that on the record. I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to, the final map.
Does anybody object to us including it, or have any reasons not to?
No,
Okay,
No.
I think we're all in agreement here.
You want to take a straw vote just to make sure we covered our tracks?
Let's do it.
I think so.
You could frame, I mean, you could frame a motion just for completeness sake. It'd be a motion authorizing the inclusion of the Legend property in the sewer service area.
I motion to approve Legends into the sewer service area.
I'll second it.
Okay, Paul Kearney,
Yes.
Andrew Pittsger,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
See your feet, Dave.
Dave,
Did we lose him?
like he's frozen maybe.
He looks like he's been frozen for a while
it's
there.
pretty
so-
cold.
Yeah, it
out.
looks frozen. He's in Florida, he's no excuse.
Yeah, he can't be frozen there.
Very.
Are you
Dave
there,
McDermott,
Dave?
I'm here. I'm here.
We asked you for a vote.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, now she's frozen.
who, me? Yes,
Yep, there you go.
thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, and Ed DeYoung,
Yes, I'm not frozen.
Got the heat on. All right, well, that was very productive. That was good. That was good. So where are we now on our agenda?
I'm actually, can I just interrupt for 1 second? I'm
It's
sorry. So Rob actually, I'm calling you out, Rob. Rob actually texted me. And he asked if we had approved a resolution, for a late budget introduction, which I did not include on the agenda. We actually usually do a resolution approving the late introduction of the budget because the statutory requirement is for November 1st. the authority, because our year starts in January, we just don't, it's not what we do. We usually introduce in December and then approve in January. So this is just a standard resolution. I can bring it up on the screen so everyone can see it, and I'll just read it into the record so that everybody knows what they would be voting on, if that's okay with the chairman.
That would be fine.
Okay. So,
And Rich, we're fine with that legally?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just
This
make a
one.
comment too before you read them out. This is more of a housekeeping matter. Because for before that, we're introducing 60 days before our year end. DCA will not accept our introduced budget without this resolution.
okay, can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. So I'm just going to read it into the record in case anyone's listening on the phone or anything. So this is a resolution 22-52A, resolution approving late introduction of the budget. Whereas the local authorities law requires every authority to transmit 2 certified copies of the budget to the Director of Local Government Services at least 60 days prior to the end of the current fiscal year. And whereas the Vernon Township Municipal Utilities Authority budget for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023 was due on November 1st, 2022. Now therefore be it resolved by the Commissioners of the Vernon Township Municipal Utilities Authority that the reason for late introduction of the authority budget for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2023 is that the authority's estimated revenues and appropriations were not known at the time the budget was to be legally introduced.
Motion to approve resolution 22-52A, resolution approving late introduction of the budget.
I'll second it.
Okay, Paul Kearney,
Yes.
Esther,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes.
and Ed DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Yep. All right, on to the engineer's report. Obviously, Howie's out with the snow. Donnell, you're gonna be taking that over for him today?
Sure, I can just update on a few things. The housekeeping on the system is going well. I already kind of spoke about the oh my gosh, generators. I couldn't think of the word. I'm sorry. They did have one call out on Steamboat. The problem was not on our end. It was obviously on the property owner's end, so they had to handle that themselves. We also replaced some wires at Pump Station 2, and we finally finished connection a couple of days ago on the Stewart House at the corner of Sand Hill and Route 94. So that's good. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's nothing really going on,
Okay.
Question.
which is good. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the list, on the capital items that we've been talking about on the list, the lift station replacement, it says here preliminary discussions, any approaches with our engineering staff or quotes or anything?
We actually had somebody come out. Andrew, I think you were there. We had someone come out that we're going to speak to.
Yes.
But I'm pretty sure we'll have to go out to bid for those items. So that would be something we'll be working with the engineer to bid out exactly what we need. Which I think we might take James or Steve out to the individual lift stations and get their recommendations on what would be the best thing to do. And then we'll base our specs on that and then go out to bid.
Very good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Work session, subcommittee reports. Transfer station PS2 upgrade committee.
Well, let's look at who's in charge of what there. I have a list. Actually, Jackie, you probably can pull up that list faster than I can from here.
Please, that's on my computer and I can't.
I
remote
think
in, so I wouldn't be able-
it's okay. I'm pretty sure it's Paul and Dave.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
we had the meetings with the town council. I don't know if Paul wanted, I think we talked about it a couple of times at our prior meetings.
Yeah,
Yes, we
there's-
did.
I don't think there's anything really new and exciting.
No, we everything is on board, like I mentioned before in my report. We're just waiting for a meeting with SCUMA. So our attorney for the township advised that that the township meet with SCUMA to discuss it, obviously, because it would be a township application for the treatment facility that would be needed for a transfer station.
How involved is the sewer company down the street from us here? Are they involved in that?
Wind
at all?
River? Wind River?
Wind River, thank you.
Yes, they would be, yes. So the idea is to, right now, the idea is to build the building, because the transfer station equipment is actually, fairly mobile, like they could move out of a building and into a building. So it would be that the township would own the building that's on land that's leased from Mountain Creek. And then we would have a lease agreement with whoever is leasing that building, which would be Wind River.
Okay.
So they've been on every call with us. I mean, we've had lengthy conversations with them. They've offered to come to the SCUMA meeting as well.
I'm just glad to hear that they're active with us. That's all.
Yes, active and very responsive. So that's good.
Good. Next one is sewer service, Paul.
SSA committee,
That would be you, Paul, and Ed DeYoung.
Yep. Go ahead, Paul.
I don't really have anything right
Yeah,
now
I
on
think
that.
just about what we talked about tonight. We've been,
Yeah,
the last time we met, we were talking about the same issues, so.
pretty much. So let's go on to the solid waste septic collection committee.
It's really the septic collection committee, the solid waste, and we've kind of ruled that out.
You're frozen. You're back.
Okay. All right. I was motioning to, or just suggesting that we strike solid waste from the committee name. It's really been all about septic collection. When we discussed this last on October 20th, I had a list of action items regarding the potential for outreach for discussions about a septic, a townwide septic hauling program. As I understood, that list was going to be circulated amongst the transfer station committee, which includes township committee members. I'm not sure if that took place, and that's where we left it. And I'm on hold until something else happens at the council level or the committee level.
Okay. Let's go to bylaw personnel committee.
It was a question.
sorry.
It was a
I'm sorry.
question. Yeah. Has that been discussed with the council?
I'm sorry, can you say that? Can you, because
Yeah, I mean,
you were cutting out a little bit in the beginning.
The at the last meeting, we had discussed outreach for a townwide hauling program for septage. And
Okay,
there was
yeah.
a list, there was a list of outreach questions for haulers and others to help us try to formulate the benefits of implementing a townwide septage hauling program. And so I was asked not to continue with that, and that it would be discussed amongst the Transfer Station 2 committee that includes township committee members, and or that would be discussed at the council level.
So we have not had an updated committee meeting yet, because we needed to discuss things with Mountain Creek and Wind River. And then I didn't want to have another committee meeting until we met with SCUMA to really see where this is going to go. You know, if we don't have support, that's going to be a problem. But I did discuss the possibility of reaching out to those haulers with the township. And the township said the township felt like that was a good idea, but it would wait until we see where the transfer station is going.
Okay, when you say the township, who are you, is it,
The former administrator, I'm sorry.
oh, the former administrator, okay,
Right.
so. Okay, so we kind of, I mean, the count is the council informed, is this?
Well, I mean, we're at a committee level right now to even discuss the possibility of a transfer station. So as far as reaching out to council members about something that we don't know where this is going to go, like, I mean, that was up to the township at that point. And it's,
So to,
if you're requesting that I reach out to the council and let them know about questions that we could ask haulers in the future, I could do that.
Again, it's a separate issue from the transfer station. There are benefits to doing townwide hauling that don't have to be related to transfer station. I know.
So
that
like
we're-
not financial then, it would just be for like the health and environment of the township.
Oh, it would definitely be financial as well.
So I think that's where I didn't understand, because I think that there was an email that you had sent to the chair and I didn't understand where the financial aspect was. I must be like misunderstanding something.
Okay, I'll put in an email for the board to consider.
Okay.
Thank you. Bylaw Personnel Committee.
Dave, that's you and I. You want to speak up? You want me to?
It doesn't matter. Go ahead, Andy.
Well, basically, this is an ongoing thing with Danelle and Jackie. We keep up on the employees. We do the interviews and reviews with them. Any reflective changes on the bylaws is updated by Jackie. We've moved the website. I look at this list, and what we do here is to keep it on the boil all the time. We reevaluate the personnel policies. I mean, we take basically Danelle's recommendations and move there. They take good care of that. When it comes to job advertisements and job descriptions, that's pretty well under control now. We probably have to make some other changes to the website to update some things here, but that's about all I know of. Dave, can you add anything?
No, everything. No, I think everything is that you covered it all.
Okay, because we did talk about you and I, but this is actually under the finance part, is about government assistance, and that was, you and I discussed that, and that's actually something under finance committee.
Right. It was, we were going to do financial relief for disabled veterans and senior citizens.
Right, and I know Rich had something in a draft to us, or draft to as a copy what was going on there, but that was something I think that fell under finance, not under us. But we would have to put that policy in place in the website once it's ready.
Okay. I think if I remember correctly, it was legal. I mean, there was a question whether if we were allowed to do so, and there was it was legal under one of the Social Security statutes or something to that effect. But if I remember correctly, it was the legality part of it was okay.
Okay, that's something Rich and Danelle are going to have to give us information on, but we don't know about that. So any advice from our professionals?
Yeah, so just, on the abatement issue is what I'll call it. We have done the research on that. We can promulgate that. I candidly thought that we were going to be sitting down as a subcommittee and working through all the permutations of that. So if the board's pleasure, just for us to send the black letter law on that with an opinion as to what it would look like, we're happy to do that. But I thought that's on me then, because I thought we were gonna be sitting down.
No, that's what, this is communication. We, no black eyes for anybody. We're learning too, so. Would it be better if we sat down to talk about that, or can you draft something for us, Rick?
Yeah, I can absolutely draft something, Andy. Not a problem at all.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, cool. Thanks, Dave.
That's all I have, Dave.
Yeah, that's it for me.
All right.
Okay, onto the finance committee.
Mr. DeYoung, anything you'd like to say?
We had a meeting back in November, I guess, you and myself, Andy, and Donnell. We went over the budget. That's
And
pretty much
Robert,
what's presented tonight with some minor modifications. Yeah, everything looked pretty good.
Yeah, and Robert McNish was there, very helpful in guiding us in the right area. And then again, here we have the government assistance. So this kind of been a shared thing between bylaws and finance between us. So Rich can help us there. The SCUMA contract, we know where that's at right now, so we'll just leave that be.
Fingers crossed.
Yep. And Janelle's pretty much covered with us. Janelle, on the review of the EDUs and we have meters for billing. Obviously, that's a separate project now, but the EDU development for next year, is that something we should put as a opportunity to review and anticipate what could happen?
What do you mean EDU? I'm sorry, I don't understand EDU development for next year.
Well,
Like perspective development?
yeah, perspective development. Because we heard about that in Paul Carney's report to the council, and they'd like to know what kind of growth we're going to have. So maybe we can start looking at that, saying, okay, what can we anticipate, and start putting numbers to things.
I mean, I have all those numbers. I don't know if you need a committee for that.
No, we don't. Just because the information should be, no, as far as the committee, I'm thinking for Ed and I, and to share with the rest of the commissioners, is what is it?
Okay.
So, at a rate evaluation, we are where we're at right now. Ed, I don't know if there's anything else you can add to that.
I think it covers everything.
Okay. That's it for us, Paul.
And it's metering and EDU committee.
I have nothing to add from previous, sorry.
Okay, very good. We want to make a motion to open the meeting to the public for items not on the agenda.
Motion to open the meeting to public for public comments.
Second it.
Hey, all in favor?
Aye.
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 I do not have anybody raising their hands wishing to speak.
Do we have anybody simply auditing but not wanting to speak?
We do. It's if you look under participants, we do have a couple people on.
Oh, I see. Okay, I didn't know I could see that from here.
Yeah.
The middle one is,
Thank you.
Okay, seeing nobody raising their hand from the public wanting to speak, someone like to make a motion to close the meeting to the public for items not on the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Get a second, please.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
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 On to commissioners' comments. Let's start with Mark Bauer.
Oh, all right. I have taken a lot of interest in the appeal that was argued earlier this week, and I guess sometime late December, maybe early January, we will have an outcome from that, which I anticipate, and perhaps our attorneys can correct me if I'm wrong, is likely to be a final disposition of that issue. My concern naturally is what happens if the appellate courts do not side with us, in which case we remain in our current situation where we're paying SCUMA for double or more than double the amount of sewage that we actually generate. And as far as I can see, our financial problems all or substantially all flow from that circumstance. While it may be premature for us to do anything specific in anticipation of an unfavorable appellate result, I don't think it's premature for us as a board to start thinking about our long-term financial predicament. In the year or so that I have been attending and more recently been alternate commissioner on the MUA, I have never heard us address the big issue rather than the small day-to-day administrative details to keep us operating. And from where I sit, and please forgive me if I am wrong, in the event the appellate division, appellate court rules against us, we are eventually down the road confronting our frank insolvency. And I believe we should start at least thinking about and talking about what to do in the event that becomes a greater likelihood than it is today. And right now, I think it is a sufficient likelihood that it bears attention. Ed used one of my favorite phrases earlier, saying we're kicking the can down the road. And for the year that I have been somewhat involved, I think we have been kicking this great big can down the road because it's much easier to address small problems than to address the great big ones. Perhaps my opening thought perhaps ought to go to our legal professionals, because as fiduciaries, I question whether our fiduciary duty is properly discharged by doing day-to-day administrative maintenance without looking at the big picture, which could result in our eventual bankruptcy. And it strikes me that as a fiduciary to the MUA, perhaps we ought to be contemplating our eventual insolvency and contemplate that sooner when you have various options available to you, rather than later when you're actually insolvent and your options may be limited or none at all.
I think, Mark, you could probably have Danelle speak on that quite in detail with you. I don't know whether Danelle, you want to make any comments to Mark's point there.
Yeah, I mean, I could just say if someone were to review the financials that we post on the website and the ones that'll be upcoming, you'll see that actually the MUA has done fairly well over the past 4 years. We've increased our net position substantially, knowing that 2023 was around the corner, and our auditor did mention that earlier this evening. And we did that so that we could use those funds for rate stabilization. This board has done a phenomenal job. Last year, we decreased connection fees by half to help entice connections, because ultimately what we need is connections. I've worked with the engineers to put together a plan to determine what areas of the sewer service area that we are requesting to be expanded into, which areas would have the most connections, and which would be the easiest to do connections to, right? So that we have a cost benefit analysis ready to go once that is approved by the county and then the DEP. I think this board has done actually a really good job, especially over the last few years, addressing what some people called like the impending doom of 2023. I'm obviously not happy that SCUMA increased their rates way beyond what they were supposed to be this year. Hopefully that'll be addressed in some findings legally. But you know, we're doing our best with what we can, with what we have. And we're also addressing areas that have not been addressed in the past. So this board has requested information on the transfer station. They've been working hard on the transfer station for the past 2 years. We had to put it aside specifically for pump station 2 because we had to, manage what was more important, having a 40+ year old pump station that could fail at any time, that services all of Mountain Creek and all of Black Creek condos, or address something like a transfer station, which we would make money off of, right? So we had to address the failing pump station before we addressed the transfer station, because without a functioning transfer station, we can't have, without a functioning pump station, we can't have a transfer station. So the transfer station alone would bring in a significant amount of revenue if that is approved. And that's why this board has worked on it. And now the town council supports that and the mayor supports that. And the environmental commission. And that's why we're moving towards that to help increase revenues, which help offset, not our obligation, but it helps offset the revenues that we will need from the ratepayers.
What I am hearing is that the SCUMA rate increase may or may not be disturbed through some legal process. Does it not make sense for us to plan a worst case scenario rather than to hope for a best case scenario and just keep on moving?
So I think that yes. I mean, everything that we do for the financial stability of the MUA is not contingent upon litigation or legal decisions with SCUMA or anyone else. So we move forward with the things that we had planned. Increasing flow, help, and the only way you can increase flow is having additional development or having something else like a transfer station come in. So we are going through those other areas, those other possible revenue streams.
And may I, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the things that we're looking at going forward, which you may refer to as kicking the can down the road and hoping, these are things that I think whether the MUA goes under or not, these are things that would still have to happen. If the sewer area and everything going with it now would fall under the township, all of these projects and all of these expansions and developments that we're looking at, they would have to continue on anyway. So I don't feel we're kicking the can down the road. I feel that we're doing what is in the best interest of the MUA and subsequently the township. And we're doing what has to get done for the future and the present, no matter who is running the system. And hopefully in doing this, we maybe will find some solvency. But that we can't predict that at this point in time, but the work we're doing would have to get done if it was the township or the MUA running the system.
Or even SCUMA. They took over the system, they'd have to address these issues too.
Correct.
I don't have anything further to add pending the appellate decision. I think that will throw a great deal of light on my concerns one way or the other.
And Mark, I think unless I didn't hear you correctly, the case against SCUMA is not about the amount of sewerage we're being charged for. It's the rate at which we're being charged. It's not the gallonage. I don't think that we're ever gonna, well, I shouldn't say that, but we may not be able to challenge that. But the suit is based on the rate at which we're being charged per gallon compared to the other municipalities charged per gallon.
I do understand that.
Okay, I just wanted to, yeah, I wasn't sure if that's how you said. Maybe I heard it wrong. I just wanted to make sure that anybody outside that's listening would know because if I heard it wrong. Anything else, Mark? On
No,
your end?
thank you.
Okay. Let's go to Mr. DeYoung.
I have no further comments, Paul.
Okay, Kristen?
No comments this evening. Thank you, Paul.
Okay. Mr. McDermott in sunny Florida. What do you got for us?
Nothing. I don't have anything to say for a change.
I'm gonna mark this on my calendar.
Yeah, right?
Andrew,
First, Paul, I do have a few comments. I just want to say thank you for presenting the VTMUA's report to the town council this last week. I don't think you got a chance to really give them all the fine details, but you stood there and with Danelle and you got it done. So thank you very much. That's a feather in your cap for putting up
yeah,
with that.
let me just, to comment on that. They weren't really asking for anything specific. I had already given them my comments, which were basically a report a month and a half ago or 2 months ago. So I mean, they had the information. I guess it was maybe more for the new members. And you know, they can feel free to reach out and ask questions anytime they want.
Absolutely, they can join us in the meeting, and the thing
Absolutely.
is, my takeaway from that was that they were worried more about us cutting sewer connection fees in half than they were about us growing the business, you know?
Well,
So-
yeah, and that's something that was said, right? So, you know, and the funny thing, it's not funny, but it's not funny, haha, but it's I heard that and that's the problem. There's too much out there that I heard that is not backed by facts. You know, they heard we cut the sewer connections in half. No, we
Yeah.
didn't do that. But to some people, that's the truth. And, you know, so I have no problem setting the record straight on things, especially those type of things.
For sure. And finally, this is the end of the year for us. It's the holidays coming up, and I just want to say this whole utility authority, this whole team has done a lot in this last year. We have made some positive steps in getting pump station 2 done. Sewer service area map is moving in the right direction. Building that relationship with the DEP, Danelle, I mean, everybody in this commission is working towards that. So hopefully we get it done faster. But also I'd like to thank our sewer service operators, Kiesel and Joe now. We have a new fellow on for all the work they do day to day, keeping the system running, along with Howie, who he keeps them safe, he keeps them supervised, they make sure that we keep everything moving. Robert, thank you for all you've done helping us with the financials, as well as Rich, keeping us out of trouble. Dewberry and Steve and can't remember the other gentleman's name from Dewberry. They keep
James,
it's who?
James.
Oh, okay. They keep us going, but the key with them is making sure we keep these project timelines going. So, and then Jackie, you know, you put up with a lot this year with the bills and readjusting things and taking the customer service calls at the front. I just want to say thank you. And Danelle, thank you for all you've done. You're constantly, you have been a driver for this MUA, and everything you've done for personnel to getting it done, the projects and all. And this commission is active. This is an extremely active group of people, and I'm thankful for that. So I want to wish you all a happy holiday. May you be safe out there for the holidays, and enjoy. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Santa Lucia, and what other holidays I haven't covered. So thank you all for a great year.
So Andy,
Thanks,
how
Andy.
long ago did you start hacking computers? Because I worked on my comments earlier today, and it was a big list of thank yous to everybody. So that means that we're going to end the meeting a lot quicker, because I'm just going to say ditto on all the thank yous from Andy. I literally had a list in front of me, and I'm laughing as you're reading them, because I was like, you beat me to the punch. But I mean, everybody done such a great job this last year, last 2 years, honestly. It's, you know, from when I first came onto this board, the direction things were going to now, to those of you that are new, you, you won't recognize it yet. But, you know, Kristen's been here a while too. So she's well aware of, you know, what this was like a number of years ago, how we thought 2023 was Armageddon. We really did. We didn't think, we thought we'd hit this calendar page turning, and, you know, it was all gonna hit the fan, and who knew after that? And the fact that that's not the case, it just goes to all the hard work that's been done by every single person that Andy mentioned. And so I want to thank everybody as well.
Sorry, I stole your thunder, Paul. I
No,
didn't
no,
know
it was-
that.
I was literally, I had to mute my phone because I was laughing. I was laughing out loud. It was great. It was awesome. It was awesome. You saved me from rambling forever.
Oh, I did the rambling. Thank you.
You did a good job. Ramble on, sir. Ramble on. And well, then I guess would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to close the meeting.
Second it.
Well, then, everyone, happy holidays, and meeting is adjourned.
Hey, Merry
Good holidays,
Christmas.
guys.
Merry
Thank
Christmas.
you.
Happy
Merry
holidays,
Christmas.
everybody.
Take care.
Merry Christmas.
Everybody stay
holidays,
safe over
everyone.
the holidays.
Bye now.